For today's lesson, we'll be learning the distributive property. And so the basic idea of a distributive or the distributive property is that you're going to take a term and you're going to multiply it. So distributive or distribute means that you're multiplying. So you're going to take that term and you're going to multiply it times a polynomial. Okay, so we've learned about what a term is, and we've learned what a polynomial is. And so now we're kind of putting those in there too. So when you hear the word distribute, what does that mean? Well, that means you're going to take that term and you're going to multiply it times each part of the polynomial. So every single part that you have, for instance, in that parentheses, in that polynomial, you're going to multiply by that term, okay? So let's go ahead and get into the example so you can see how it works. So for instance, with this one, you've got 2x. That's the term that you're going to distribute, and we'll talk about why in a second. And you're going to distribute it to this polynomial, okay? And so the reason I know that I have to distribute is because if you look between the 2x and the parentheses right here that has all of this stuff, there's nothing between them. And so that means that you're multiplying. So whenever you have something and then it's got a parentheses, and there's nothing between them, there's not like an addition or a subtraction sign, then that means that you're technically multiplying everything in this times that term, okay? And so what you're gonna do is called distribute. So you're using the distributive property. And so to do that, like we said up here, you're gonna take that term and you're gonna multiply it times each part of that polynomial, okay? So I'm gonna take that 2x and I'm gonna take it times every single term. Well, it'd be good to know how many terms there are. So if you think back to the other day, you've got the 3x squared term, you've got the negative 4x term, and then you've got the 1. So you have to take that 2x times every one of those parts, okay? So when you do that, you're gonna start by kind of doing one at a time. So 2x times 3x squared. You can go to the side if it helps you visually and kind of write that down so that you can think about it one piece at a time. So if you do that, you're going to take the 2 times the 3, so you would get 6, and then x times x squared. When you're multiplying, it's a little different than when you were adding and subtracting the other day, okay? When you're multiplying, what you actually have to do with their exponents is add them. And so when I take x to the first, because remember, if there's not a power written with it, it's a 1. So ours is to the first power. And so it'd be x to the first times x squared. Well, when I add those, it'd be x to the 1 plus 2 is 3. So you get 6x to the third for that, okay? So then the next one, you'd have to take 2x times the negative 4x. So again, you can go to the side, so it'd be 2x times negative 4x. Don't ignore the sign in front of it. So 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. And then x times x, remember you add the exponents. So that's x to the first times x to the first. When I add the exponents, I get x. 1 plus 1 is 2. So you'd get from that negative 8x squared. Okay, and then the last thing is we have to take 2x times the positive 1. So 2x times 1, well, 2x, well, anything times 1 is whatever you had. So 2x times 1 is going to give me a positive 2x. And then from there, you're always going to want to make sure that your answer's in standard form, and you're also going to double check and make sure that you don't have like terms, okay? And notice none of these are like terms because they don't have that same last part to them, or in my class I'd call it the last name is not the same. And so that's as far as you can go, okay? So let's do a few more examples so you can kind of see different things that they can throw at you. So if I'm doing this one, I notice I have an 8m times this mess right there. So again, there's nothing between this term and that parenthesis, so that means I'm technically supposed to be multiplying, which is distributing. And so you have to take that times everything in here. There's only 2 things that I have to take it to, so I'm going to take it to each one of those. So again, you can go to the side like I did in the last problem and kind of write it out piece by piece, or if you are good with it, you are more than welcome to do it as you go. So it'd be 8 times, think about the number that would be in front of that. That's technically an understood 1 in front of that. So it'd be 8 times 1, which is 8. And then m times m is m squared. And then I have 8 times 6. And then that m doesn't have anything to multiply with, so the m is just going to come down. So 8 times 6 is a positive 48. And then the m, like I said before, it doesn't have anything to multiply with, so it literally just comes down with it, okay? And so there's my answer. And again, it's already in standard form because it goes from highest exponent or highest degree to lowest degree, and then those aren't like terms, so you're done, okay? So this one, you have this term, the negative 4y squared. There's nothing between that and the parentheses, so that means you're multiplying, so that means you have to distribute that term. And then you need to kind of look in advance, how many terms do I have to distribute it to? Well, there's 1, 2, 3 terms. So I'm going to take it times each one. And visually, these little kind of rainbow looking things helps you to kind of just remember, hey, I have to take it times each one, all right? And so again, you take the number times the number, and then the variable times the, if it's a like variable, times the variable, okay? So it'd be negative 4 times 5, so that'd be negative 20. And then y squared times y to the 4th. Remember, when you multiply the like, those are called bases, you have to add the exponents. So it'd be y to the 2 plus 4 is 6. And then that's that one, so we did that one. Now we have to take negative 4y squared times the negative 3y squared. Okay, so keep it organized. And this is one where you may want to go to the side and write it out. Okay, if you're struggling, write it out to the side. So it'd be negative 4 times negative 3. A negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 3 is 12. And then y squared times y squared, well, it'd be y. And then remember, you add the exponents. So that'd be 2 plus 2, which is 4. That's one of your exponent rules that you'll be learning later, and you probably would have touched on in middle school, okay? Then, so that's the negative 4y squared times the negative 3y squared. Then you have to take it times the 2. So it'd be negative 4 times 2, which is negative 8. And then the y squared doesn't have anything to multiply with. So like we did in the last problem, it kind of just comes down, all right? It's already highest degree to lowest degree. There's no like terms, so we're done there, okay? So the last one, doesn't that one look fun? I threw this one out because it's going to be good to see, so that when you get to problems like this, you'll be prepared, okay? So you have this term, there's nothing between them, so that means you're supposed to multiply times everything in here. And so remember, to know how many terms you have, you look, the plus and minus signs are what separate your terms. So you've got 1, 2, 3 terms there, all right? So again, we distribute the 2ab to all 3 of these, all right? So 2ab times the 7a to the 4th b squared, all right? And I'll erase these. This is gonna be one where you definitely probably wanna go to the side, so I'm gonna go over here. So we've got the 2ab times the 7a to the 4th b squared, all right? So number times the number, 2 times 7 is 14. Then you've got a couple different variables now. So when you multiply them, you kind of put the variables that are the same together. So like this a to the first, remember if it's not written, that's understood to be a 1 as the power. It's going to be a to the first times a to the 4th. So you're going to combine those exponents. So a to the first times a to the 4th, 1 plus 4 would be 5. So that would give me a to the 5th. Then this is technically b to the first. So b to the first times b squared. You'd add the exponents, 1 plus 2. You would get 3. So it'd be b to the 3rd. And so, and then that's it for that one, all right? Now, you had, so that was just that first term. Now you have to take it times the other one. So it'd be 2ab times a to the 5th b. All right, there's not a number in front here, which remember would be a 1. So 2 times 1 is 2, so it'd be plus 2. A to the 1st times a to the 5th, so 1 plus 5, I'd get a to the 6th there. And then b to the 1st, technically, times b to the 1st. Remember, b times b, add the exponents, so it'd be b squared. All right, and then that's it for that one. And then we have the last one. So we got 2ab times the negative 2a. So make sure you put your little multiplication symbol between them. So 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. A times a squared. And then b doesn't have anything to multiply with. So remember, when it doesn't have anything to multiply with, it just comes over. All right? And then, just like before, you're going to look and make sure that nothing else will simplify, okay? And you don't have any like terms, and so you're good.